When my sun goes, I feel like you're up to something. Fuck that you're up to something. Scandalous. Taste my bitter heart, know it makes you blush.
Your Brunton compass. This is your. So there are two types of compass, right? One is your Kleiner compass, other one is your Brunton compass. The Brunton compass has advantages over your Kleiner compass or clinometer, right? So here there are several advantages. So before going into the details of different elements of this compass, you just look at this and tilted, or it can you hold it. Similarly, in this mirror, you will also find your sighting instrument, or by which you can sight, right? Got it? 3 or 4 things are quite necessary. First, the central dial. What is its utility? It has been graduated from 0 to 360, right? That 0 coincides with 360, or simply that is your 360. Means your 0, then your 90, then your 180, then 270, 272, 360. This is a whole circle, right? We can represent your location with respect to whole circle, right? From your angle from 330 to suppose 120 to 300, we can represent, or else we can represent with respect to your quadrant. So there are 4 quadrants. 0 to 90, that is your northeast quadrant. 90 to 180, southeast quadrant. 180 to 270, southwest quadrant. Then 270 to 360, that is your northwest quadrant. So you will find in this central part of this instrument, and in peripheral part, you will find there is a graduation, that is from 0 to 360. Okay. Then come to this inside, you will find there are 2 cylinders. Okay, one is a cylindrical cylinder, other one there is a circular cylinder. One is a cylindrical, other one is a circular cylinder. That circular cylinder is also known as bullseye. This is also known as bullseye, right? Then you will find there is a small your scale fitted to central part of this instrument, right? And it is a hinge which can move freely. Say there is a hinge, right? There is a hinge which can move. Then the thing is, we will have used this instrument for locating ourselves. Similarly, we will use this instrument to take the reading. Reading means primarily we use for 2 things, or there are 2 types of your structural data. One is your linear data, other one is your planar data. Linear data means linearly arranged, or it has one dominant direction where it has been, you can observe, right? So these are your linear features or lineations, right? Other one is a planar feature or a foliation. So we can take 2 types of reading. One is a linear reading, we can take planar reading. Then for a linear reading, we use to measure pitch, plunge and trend. We use to measure pitch, plunge and trend. For planar reading, we try to take your strike line, dip direction, dip amount. Strike, dip and dip amount. Once you know this strike line, you can find out your dip direction, right? Your strike line and your dip direction, they are mutually perpendicular. So we can use particularly this central cylindrical bubble part to measure your amount of dip, right? We can use this one for measuring dip amount. Okay, got this? Then what you are observing? Suppose we know north, then we know south, then right of the north there is east, then left of your north there is west. But just observe carefully this instrument. You will find east is placed in the left hand side of north. But in reality, east must have to be in the right side of north. But here in this instrument, it is in left side. What could be the reason? And you will definitely get this kind of questions in your UPS interview. Then in your OPS interview, definitely you will find these questions somewhere in your life. So there is mismatch, right? West is in right hand of your north side, and east is in left side of north direction. Why? टाइमिंग खाली जाने था, फोर्थ सेमेस्टर को पढ़ेंगे सब सजल, राइट? It only show you your north and south direction. That means your magnetic direction, magnetic north as well as your magnetic south. But we have two different north. One is your geographic north, other one is your magnetic north. One is your geographic north, other one is your magnetic north, and they are not coinciding each other. Your geographic north and your magnetic north, they create an angle of 11.5 degree, okay, or 11 degree. In some book you will find it as 11, some book you will find it 11.5. So your geographic north and your magnetic north is not coinciding. Here actually we try to measure your north direction, and this will measure you magnetic north or geographic north, magnetic north direction. And this instrument has to be calibrated, because once there is your 11 degree error between your magnetic north and your geographic north. So before using this instrument, it must have to be calibrated. Means what we are looking, if we are looking north, that means your magnetic north and geographic north direction must have to be properly used, because we will, rather in geology, we will use mostly your geographic north instead of your magnetic north, right? So this instrument has to be calibrated with respect to your magnetic north and geographic north. And while you buy this instrument, they mostly calibrate this instrument, right? So we don't need to calibrate. But when we simply place this one, or when we just hold this one in our hand, then it not move freely. This needle doesn't move freely. So how you will make this needle movement your free? How will make it? There is, bullseye, and you will find a bubble in bullseye. When this instrument is leveled, means this instrument is horizontal, then only this magnetic needle, it will move freely. Otherwise it will freeze. Right? You just tilt this instrument, just tilt your Brunton or Kleino, you will find this the needle, or this needle will freeze. You just look. There are, one is your central needle, or this bullseye. Other one is your cylindrical needle. So if your bullseye is not labeled, then your needle will not move freely. So to make it horizontal or to make it labeled, so we just bring this your bubble in bullseye to the center. Once it is in the center, then we will find your needle now is free to move, right? Everybody? देखा जाଉଛି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଜଣା ପଡୁଛି ନା? then your movement କ'ଣ ହବ? needle movement ନା free. The next thing is when we rotate this instrument, when we rotate, then you will find there is rotation of needle. In reality, which rotate? Whether this instrument rotates or this needle rotates? Instrument. Needle is fixed or needle is rotating? Needle is fixed. Needle always fixed, and this is indicating north-south direction. Right? One will find this in this particular needle or magnetic needle, you will find one white mark, or else you will find a north direction written in this particular needle. Right? सूर्य पूर्व दिगरे उदय हुए माने सूर्य पूर्व दिग को आसीबो जेना पश्चिम दिग रास्ता हो बट इन रियलिटी सन इज स्टेशनरी अर्थ रोटेट किंतु छोट बेला जानि परियनी सेट लगे को जाय कोन आमे जानते पृथ्वी तो बुलुनी जानि परनांती फील करि परनांती सेट लगे छोट हम माइंड को को जाउची सूर्य पूर्व दिग रे सेपट को आसुची किंतु रियलिटी सूर्य फिक्स नै कि सिमिलरली एबे हम देखिया फर्स्ट टाइम देखुचंदी सो व्हेनेवर वी विल लुक हमको फील हो कि हमारा नीडलटा बुली जाउची या पूर्व जस्ट को गला व्हेन दिस इंस्ट्रूमेंट इज लेवेड देन वी विल फाइंड अ फ्री मूवमेंट ऑफ दिस नीडल तामाने से लाइन में पड़ले को नीडलटा मूव कर बट इन रियलिटी नेक्स्ट जो जानले कोन पे ना आवर मैग्नेटिक नॉर्थ as well as your magnetic south even geographic north geographic south fixed ताको हमें चेंज कर परिबे so what we can change we can move this instrument so first after coming we will have to have a fair idea on the direction we must have a fair idea on this direction so you tell me which direction is your north direction देखो then कोन हमें करू जंदी we have two direction one is north direction other one is south direction so first we coincide north to north means needle north then zero of this instrument when just rotate it rotate कर हां हां I am facing towards north right you are facing towards the south you are facing towards south I am facing towards north so first thing is to calibrate or first thing is to orient कहा को orient करिवि दीटा जिंस को one is your Brunton orient with respect to north second thing is orientation of the map with respect to map means your topographic map that you have been bringing from your lab right so after you fixing your north direction the next step is to locate yourself right so next step is to
locate yourself
so there are two way by which you can read means by which you can locate yourself the reading from there are two things one is your object other one is your observer so any sorts of reading from observer means you or from the geologist to the object that direction is your front bearing then the direction from object to observer is your from object to observer is your back bearing मतलब खाता कटे दियो your topographic map so from left to right you will find variation from bottom to top you will find variation so from left to right variation of what this is your longitude that is your longitude then from bottom to top that is your latitude then in a topographic map you will find there is first north then you will find scale what is scale what is scale the ratio between your map and actual distance normally that scale has been represented using representative fraction or RF that is your representative fraction or in short we call it as RF and in scale you will find it has been written as 1:50,000 1:20,000 what does it mean this means 1 centimeter in map is equivalent to 50,000 centimeter ground 1 centimeter in map is equivalent to 50,000 centimeter in ground so that means 1 centimeter is equal to 500 meters because both are in centimeters so 1 centimeter in map represents 500 meter or 2 centimeter in map, in topographic map indicates. And normally some features must have to be exaggerated. Some features must have to be exaggerated. ता माने कौन? Road width of road maximum कितना हो?
20 feet maximum. 20 feet.
30 meter
30 meter.
maximum or 20 meter. 20 meter means we cannot represent it because our minimum or least count must have to be 1 millimeter is equal to 50 meter. Mostly your road width is less than 50 meter, but in map you will find there is a road. ता माने नहीं से रोडटा हे
सिंपली कर दिया.
These certain things must have to be exaggerated, but geological features or your topographical features must have to be represented using contours, right? Using
Contours.
we know we have a fair idea of contours, right? So contour means points joining equal elevation with respect to mean sea level. Points joining equal elevation with respect to mean sea level. So suppose there is a mountain, then from the tops, suppose 800 feet, then 700 feet, 600 feet, then gradually we will find decreasing value from center to periphery. But if it is opposite, means opposite is a basin, you will find the central value low or high. The central value low
And peripheral value is high.
high for basin, and central value is high and peripheral value is low for a mountain. So your topographical features means your river, your valley, your mountain, your plateau, right? So these features must have to be represented in your topographic map. Then we go to field, then we will orient this map, means we will orient this with respect to our Brunton compass, right?
Long-term compass.
So both your north direction of this Brunton, then the north direction of the map must have to be coincide, right? Then in the right hand side you will find your different features, those which are located in east part. Then in your left hand side you will find features which are located in your west part. Then in back, if you are looking towards your north, then you will find south. Then the thing is, actually I am coming why your east and your west, they are in opposite direction. We know our instrument is fixed or the needle is fixed. Instrument we can rotate. So suppose this is my north direction. Suppose
This is the north direction.
north direction, and this this side indicates your north and this is your
South.
south. So if I rotate this or if I rotate this Brunton towards the east side, towards the
East side.
automatically my needle in east direction.
See north से
Marking.
Needle is north, but the marking is now 60, or that marking is from north, in northeast quadrant. Actually I am rotating instrument. So with respect to north, we will find the reading in east direction. Jodi lekha jaythanta west, then I am rotating this towards east, but now the reading will show me west direction. ताले में कौन करे पड़ता नेक्स्ट स्टेप, यू मस्ट हैव टू करेक्ट इट, कारण आमर प्रोसेस लेंदी ही था. तो मिनिमाइज आवर वर्क इंस्ट्रूमेंट रु फास्ट रु कौन लिखि देगला उल्टा पाए अपोजिट साइड लिखाला व्हाट माय पॉइंट पाए इन रियलिटी और इन प्रैक्टिकली जेतबेले हम कोन करछन वी आर मूविंग दिस इंस्ट्रूमेंट towards your east direction, I am getting a reading in east direction. Therefore your east has been written in west side, and your west has been written in
east side.
first बुझेला क्लियर हैला नेक्स्ट जो एबे पढुतले कोन पढुतले योर locating yourself one is your forward bearing backward bearing so what is forward bearing observe that reading is your
Forward bearing.
opposite your object to your backward bearing suppose now convert करिबा suppose forward bearing is 120 means
Topography.
southeast direction 120 means
Southern direction.
south 60 east in whole circle reading it is 120 if 120 is your forward bearing so what will be your backward bearing কথা বুঝাই 20 is your forward bearing what will be your backward bearing if north is my forward bearing which one will be my backward bearing so difference between north and south is 180 degree similarly 120 if it is my forward bearing
60.
then
60.
120 plus 180 so it will be 300 it will be
300.
so if forward bearing is 0 backward bearing 180 we know for 0 means north if my forward bearing is north backward bearing is south so difference between this forward and backward bearing is
180.
similarly if forward bearing is 120 backward will be
300.
if my forward bearing is 300 then my backward bearing will be difference between forward bearing and backward bearing is always 180 why 180 next is why so opposite ame देखिबा right so this is our north east south west suppose you are standing center of this map right then we are looking at an object you are looking at a object then from you means from you observer if this object is lying north 60 degree east direction north
60 degree east direction.
then from object to observer is standing at
South.
north 60 degree east so this will be your
South 60 degree west.
or 60 degree or this is south 60 degree west is your
240.
one is your quadrant bearing other one is your whole circle bearing so forward bearing backward bearing what ना सुविधा जी क्लियर कर परिबा ना सुविधा हो so from object to observer it is always backward bearing from observer to object forward bearing so while coming to this location next step कौन रहिबा हमरा ना we have to locate ourselves आ locate करिया केमिति ना we will take this map topographic map then we will orient this map with respect to north then we will look around the features topographic features map रे पाइबा then from topographic features to locate yourself हमें कौन करिबा we try to draw backward bearing from actually two distinct objects which are most near about 100 degree apart or 120 degree near about ताले हमरा कौन हबो ना हमरा एरर टा मिनिमाइज हे जिवो
जिते अधिक होबे सेते कम हे
एरर maximum 120 180 is not advisable काहेकि हम 180 आमे जानि परिबे न कोते रे अछंती हम 180 मींस सपोज आमे तारी पाखरे भी थई परंती 3 किलोमीटर दूर भी थई परंती 180 सो टू थिंग्स माने हमर ऑब्जेक्ट थ्रू आमे फर्स्ट कोन लोकेट करिबा ऑब्जर्वर सो फ्रॉम ऑब्जेक्ट टू ऑब्जर्वर नेले कोन करिबा बैकवर्ड बेयरिंग ताले दीटा बैकवर्ड बेयरिंग ने आमे प्लॉट करिबा यदि प्लॉट करिबा ताले दे विल इंटरसेक्ट बाय इंटरसेक्ट यदि न सर इंटरसेक्ट करिवो यदि इंटरसेक्ट करिवो देन दैट विल बी योर location of car geologist or this is your location once आमे जानिले कि हां आमे ई जगह रे अछंदी ताले एबे कोन करिबा ମୁଁ ଏବେ ଇଷ୍ଟ ତାହେଲେ କ'ଣ କରିବି ଅବଜର୍ଭର ଏବେ ମୁଭ୍ କରିବ ତାହେଲେ ଏବେ ଇଷ୍ଟ ମୋଠୁ ନର୍ଥ 20ରେ କିଏ ଅଛି ମୋଠୁ ସାଉଥ 8ରେ କିଏ ଅଛି ବା 360ରେ କିଏ ଅଛି ତାହେଲେ ଯଦି ଜାଣିବି ସୋ ନାଉ ୱି ହାଭ୍ ଟୁ ପ୍ଲଟ୍ ଆୱାର ଫରୱାର୍ଡ ବିୟରିଂ ତାହେଲେ ପ୍ଲଟ୍ କରି କରି ଚାଲିଲେ ଆମେ କେଉଁ ଜାଗାରେ କ'ଣ ଦେଖିଲେ କେଉଁ ଲୋକେସନ୍ରେ କ'ଣ ଦେଖିଲେ ନେକ୍ସଟକୁ ଆସିବା ସୋ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ହେଲା କ'ଣ ଦେଖିଲେ ତାହେଲେ ଫିଲ୍ଡ ଗଲେ ଲୋକେସନକୁ କେମିତି କଲେ ଫରୱାର୍ଡ ବିୟରିଂ ତାକୁ କାହିଁକି ଫରୱାର୍ଡ ବିୟରିଂ ବ୍ୟାକୱାର୍ଡ ବିୟରିଂ ବୁଝିଲା ତାହେଲେ ଏବେ କଥା ଆମେ ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ ଇଜ୍ ହ୍ୱାଇ ମାଇ ଅବଜେକ୍ଟ ଯେଉଁ ଅବଜେକ୍ଟ ଥିବ ଦେ ମଷ୍ଟ ହାଭ୍ ଟୁ ବି ୱାଇଡ୍ ଆପାର୍ଟ କାହିଁକି ଥିବା ଦରକାର ୱାଇଡ୍ ଆପାର୍ଟ ହେଲେ କ'ଣ ଅସୁବିଧା ହେବ ମାନେ ସୁବିଧା ହେବ କେବେ ଘଣ୍ଟା ଦେଖିଛ କେବେ ଘଣ୍ଟା ଦେଖିଛ ସବୁ ଘଣ୍ଟାର ଆଡଭର୍ଟାଇଜମେଣ୍ଟ ସବୁ କେମିତି ଥାଏ So this is your 12, this is your 3, this is your 9. In a wheel, co wheel re. Any kutre. Watch wheel. Will have 3 hand thibo. Co hand thibo. Minute hand,
second hand, hour hand.
Suppose hour hand, minute hand and
Second hand.
सब घंटार जदि देखिबो जेते भी एडवर्टाइज देखिबो सब घंटार एडवर्टाइज भितरे तीनटा सारार कोन ई हैंड गुडा को सेकंड हैंड मिनिट हैंड आवर हैंड सब बेले एमिति थिबो 10:35 पाखा थिबो है ना केबे ऑब्जर्व केबे मार्क केबे करन थिबो ना के मार्क करिवो जे कोनसी माने उटे केनी एडवर्टाइजमेंट एनी वाच एडवर्टाइजमेंट कोन बे रीजन कोन The same reason is also applicable to our case. Smile, no smile.
Smile advertising.
तो माने इंट्यूशन कौन कोची आगे हमारा किंतु परफेक्ट डिस्टेंस रे रहला गोटे माने से पॉइंट रे कहि जी परफेक्ट पॉइंट ओटे कहि जी सेटा कोन पई एरर नहीं मु जदी रोलेक्स रे एडवर्टाइज करूची ताले मोर सब एलिमेंट गुडा भी देखा दरकार जदि मु एबे इंस्टेड ऑफ 10:35 जगह रे 10:10 जगह रे जदि मु एबे 12टा कर देबी केतरा कर देबी 12टा ताले जोठी आवारी हैंड को देखि परिबिनी ता ऊपर को छेकी दबो के मिनिट हैंड ता ऊपर को छेकी दबो सेकंड हैंड का ऊपर को रहइबो सबटो काइना सेकंड हैंड बड़ तणो तुमे आवर हैंड को देखि परिबिनी मिनिट हैंड को देखि परिबिनी खाली देखियो कोठी सेकंड हैंड जदि से जदि एडवर्टाइजमेंट से रोलेक्स रे करथो ता जो क्राउन थिबो से तो ता तळे रहि जिवो देखा जीव केबे ताले हमको फास्ट जिंस कोन दरकार ताले मोर जहां भी एडवर्टाइज करूची सब देखे माने कोन करूची जहां को भी रिप्रेजेंट करूची मस्ट हाउ टू बी क्लियर का को क्लियर जो माने मोर कस्टमर बा जी मोर ऑब्जर्वर से कस्टमर हेई पारे नहीं पारे एटलीस्ट ऑब्जर्वर रहता दरकार ना तुम ऑब्जर्वर माने मु जहां भी रीजन को पोर्ट्रे करूची मस्ट हाउ टू बी क्लियर तो सिमिलर जिंस एठी जेहेतु देखिला जदि ये पछको पळै जिबा एठी की एठी कोन अछि 10:10 होई जी ए जो 35 सेकंड थिबो तांको भीतर एंगल केते थिबो नॉर्मली डिवाइड 360/3 120 सब बेले एंगल 120 and this is the reason if we locate ourselves from two different objects if they are 120 degree apart then we can locate ourselves precisely so error will be minimized right जदि एबे देखिबा एरर केमिथि आइ जाउची जदि नॉर्थ साउथ रे रहइबा कोन अछि टू थिंग्स वन द लाइन सब रीजन बुझियोस तो सपोज आमे ऑब्जर्वर सेंटर रे अछि ऑब्जेक्ट अछि गोटे नॉर्थ रे गोटे साउथ ना आमे जदि कहबा हम दी जन को भीतर मैक्सिमम डिस्टेंस नेबा 120 डिग्री ना 120 डिग्री रो एक्सटेंड करके 180 नेबा 180 पर तक होबनी राइट पुनी कमी जबा 90 ताले कोन होबो फ्रॉम नॉर्थ टू साउथ तुमे मेजरमेंट कर दे कि लाइन टाइन दलो तुमे एपट कहलो मु एठी अछि एपट करलो कोठी अछि पूरा गुड लाइन गोटे लाइन रहिले पैरेलल गोटे लाइन कौन साइड करियला जदि दीटा सारा लाइन इंटरसेक्ट करिवो ताने पोजीशन देन यू विल पोजीशन जदि इंटरसेक्ट करिवनी तुमे नॉर्थ को तो बैठी अछि ताले कोन हला ताले असुविधा कोन हला एरर वंस लोकेशन एरर हला माने any error in your location in your that means in your first location जहाँ भी रहिबो सबसिक्वेंटली एरर बढ़ी बढ़ी माने विदाउट योर नॉलेज एरर विल प्रिपेयर्ड माने से पॉसिबल एरर तापर आसीबो ही आसीबो नेक्स्ट जहाँ भी मेजरमेंट करियो सब थरे बुझेला ए पर्यंत कथा ताले फास्ट जिंस कोन कले आमे सब लोकेटिंग केमिति कले बुझेला देन आमे हमर पोजिशनिंग करिवार केमिति कले बैक बेरिंग नहीं कले बैक बेरिंग जे ऑब्जेक्ट ऊपर रखिले 120 डिग्री पाखा पाखी रखिबा राइट तापर जदी रखिले तापर आमे जानले आमे एठी अछु त एबे से जो फ्रंट बियरिंग करबी आउ बैक बेरिंग करबी ताले मोर इंस्ट्रूमेंट भी समिति बाहर करबी मु ए इंस्ट्रूमेंट रे तळे बाहर करबी कोन करबी फॉरवर्ड बेरिंग नेबी बैकवर्ड बेरिंग नेबी ताले तळे तीनटा जिंस को कोलिनियर करबी कौन कौन जत मु बैक मान जो एबे जो एट देखो जो हमें प्लॉट करूथली कौन करथली मु फास्ट किए के तल रहला ऑब्जेक्ट एन ऑब्जर्वर एंड योर इंस्ट्रूमेंट जदी गोटे लाइन में रहंती इफ दे आर कोलिनियर ताले मु कोन करबी राइट डाटा पाइबी तो बैक बेरिंग कला बेल को ये जो तुम्हारा मिरर देनी दिस इज फॉर साइटिंग द ऑब्जेक्ट दिस इज फॉर साइटिंग ऑब्जेक्ट मीन्स जदि दूर ऑब्जेक्ट को मते देखा जाऊ नहीं तार पिक कोटा नेक्स्ट एबे मैप को जिबा हमें मैप रे देखिबा सब एटा इंट्रोडक्टरी क्लास तो आज जे जानिबा नेक्स्ट क्लास को पूरा डिटेल्स मैप रे चल जिबा देखिबा ताले हमें कोन करिबा ए जो हमें देखितले ये हमर जो हैंड अछि ए जो सब कोन अछि होल अछि राइट तनो हमें कोन करिबा होल रे देखिबा ऑब्जेक्ट को ताले पुनी से इंस्ट्रूमेंट थोरे पार करी गसला तापर हम आखिर रहइबो कोठी राइट जदी से माने कोलिनियर थिबे सेतले गोटे गारा भी टाणी मिरर देखो आउ मिरर रे गोटे एटी गोटे भी तमार गोटे कोन ओपनिंग अछि ए थ्रो भी से थ्रो देखि परिबी सब सुविधा करा दे इंस्ट्रूमेंट रे माने एते छोटिया जगहटा किंतु सब जिंस को साइंटिफिकली प्लेस करा दे ठीक अछि निवानंद पाथर से जो गछटा अछि ताको देखिबी ताले कोन कहबो ना द ऑब्जर्वर माने मु निजे माई सेल्फ देन माय इंस्ट्रूमेंट एंड दैट ट्री राइट दे मस्ट हैव टू बी कोलिनियर मींस दे मस्ट हैव लाइंग इन ए स्ट्रेट लाइन जदी स्ट्रेट लाइन हैला देन योर नॉर्थ एंड नीडल इज योर फ्रंट बियरिंग or forward bearing your south end needle is your backward bearing right or backward bearing suppose your north end needle pointing towards 0 and your backward bearing means it is pointing towards 180 so you will have to draw 180 from your object to observer then you will plot in your map then draw a straight line then similarly dita object ro kariba तापर कोन करिया जोठी इंटरसेक्ट कला सिटी तुम लोकेशन करिवो इफ माय ऑब्जेक्ट जो ऑब्जेक्ट को देखुची मैप रे सब इट इज लाइंग एट ए डिस्टेंस पाखरे अछि देन हमें ताको कोन कले सीधा कर देली किंतु व्हेन माय ऑब्जेक्ट इज फार अवे जदी फार अवे रे थिबो ताल ताको कोन करबी न जदी इफ आई कैन नॉट मेक माय इंस्ट्रूमेंट कोलिनियर देन आई विल लुक दैट ऑब्जेक्ट पर्टिकुलरली इन दिस मिरर right in this mirror then I try to collinear this line with respect to that object then automatically my instrument it will also align with respect to your object and observer तण बुझला मिरर रा काम कोन मिरर रा काम sighting the object and making collinear observer object and this instrument तण आमे जो सब साइट करजंती ए सब साइट अछि right this is for sighting this is also for sighting then you'll also find there is a slit also find there is a straight line so all this point from this point to this your edifice then this particular hole then your instrument then there is a straight line then there is also your top all are collinear so therefore for your easy or convenient use for sighting your object as well as making yourself collinear with respect to the object ए सबुरो तारा ताले हला यूज हला ना हला नी तला आज केते दिन सरी यूज सिखले सेंट्रल रे कोन बबल करले कोन हला ना
लेवल हो फ्री हो
तापर हमें निजो कागे लोकेशन करबा तापर पोजीशनिंग करबा तापर ଦେନ୍ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଏବେ କଥା ହେଲା ଯୋଉ ସିଲିଣ୍ଡ୍ରିକାଲ ବବୁଲର କାମ କେତେବେଳେ ଆସିବ ଆଉ ଇୟାର କାମ କେତେବେଳେ ଆସିବ ଏଇଟା ସେତିକି ବେଳେ କରିବା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚରାଲ ଡାଟାକୁ ନେବା ସେଟା ଆଜି ନେବାନି आज आम लिथोलॉजिकल फील्ड करिबा स्ट्रक्चरल मैप आगे फर्स्ट नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर व्हेन यू विल गेट एक्सपोज टू स्ट्रक्चरल जियोलॉजी नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर फील्ड जेतले करिबा नेक्स्ट क्लास रे तळे आमे सेटा को शिखबा ठीक अछि सो फार क्लियर ना सुविधा अछि व्हाट इज द बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन सर्वे एंड एक्सपेरिमेंट फर्स्ट स्टेज ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट सर्वे इज फर्स्ट स्टेज ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट then तुमे तीन जन डिफरेंट ग्रुप रे जाइछो ना नहीं जाइछो सैंपल आन लो यू हैव कलेक्टेड सैंपल्स okay this sample okay wait listen to me if I ask define its color from this side color of this particular specimen colorless first answer somebody it is transparent second answer white third answer any more answer then patches of black and white this could be an answer patches of green or patches of brown in white matrix इबेरियो ना हबनी बट रियलिटी रे देखिबा इफ विल गो टू रियलिटी does it possess several colors how many colors it possess
one color
but now our answer is divided somebody is telling white somebody is telling transparent somebody is telling colorless somebody is telling patches of green brown and white matrix but your answer absolutely correct everybody's answer to some extent correct jodi eku now I will I just take this sample and weight it in a weighing weighing machine okay if you weight it or somebody else will weight it then its weight will vary or it will be same if it is the same for everybody then it is experiment if it is different for different observers then it will be so we must do or we will do experiment
survey
therefore jaha bhi dekho whatever we are looking in the field may be different from perspectives of your survey or perspectives of your view right so we are doing kondale the difference between survey and your experiment means it must have to be or the answer must have to be same or must have to be converse or the answer will be unitary right but for your survey answer may not be unitary answer will vary from person to person okay from observation to observation being we are doing observation so doing a observation is nothing but doing a survey right observation we are doing observation means we are doing survey therefore your survey geological survey of India they are doing survey of India they are doing survey zoological survey of India they are doing survey from animals angle botanical survey of India from plants angle right so therefore they are survey institutes the difference between survey and difference between your so we are doing survey so जदि आमे पहुँचले कोठी नाउ we are in the field ताले से कोन आमे सर्वे करिबा को रॉक टाइप देखछनी डोमिनेटली एरिया को जदि देखिबा ताले जो रॉक टाइप ता पाइबा ताको विषय लिखिबा so first जो एरिया टा को म देखिबी जो एरिया टा को देखिबी से एरिया टा कोनी ता दरकार there are two things our sample or our observation either be in a drifted or in situ samples. One is the transported sample, other one is your in situ sample. Transported sample means by river or any means of agent. Any means of agent, man-made agent, natural agent, river, erosion, weathering, whatever. They brought samples from provenance or from a different location. But in situ means from this particular position, I am taking this rock type from its particular position. It has not drifted. So first I have to differentiate whether I am looking at a drifted sample or transported sample, or I am looking at a in situ sample. Right? So my observation must have to be specific to in situ samples. Again, coming to in situ samples, your superficial part is weathered, because your superficial part is always exposed to different agents, weathering agents like your sun, then your wind, moisture, rain, water, everything. So these are your weathering agents. So the superficial part is always prone to weathering. So we must avoid looking at weathered samples. So we must take care of fresh samples. Rather we will observe fresh samples. Then after observing fresh samples, कौन observe करिबा? What things should we observe? First, mineralogy. What are the minerals present? Then its texture. Then its structure. Then it has certain your diastrophic features, means your deformational features. Then you will look if it has any structural data or structural trend. ताले ताको सब कौन करिबी? I will compile from a given location, right? I have to compile from different angles. को कौन देखुची at a given location ले, ठीक अछि? If I look this particular rock type, यदि ये rock type को देखिबी, कौन देखा जाउची तुमन सब? कौन देखो छथि? ये जो फेस है, this is a fresh surface. This is a fresh surface. Look. देखा जाउची ना? ये कौन देखो तुम? आगे छाड़े हैं समझ देखो कौन देखो तुम क्या पूरे देखिबी रॉक टाइप रो कलर कौन देखिले ब्लैक डार्क व्हाइट ल्यूकोक्रेटिक कलर इंडेक्स मींस आइदर ल्यूकोक्रेटिक मेलानोक्रेटिक और मेसोक्रेटिक these are color index. So I am looking at a leucocratic surface, right? बुझियो जी ल्यूकोक्रेटिक मेलानोक्रेटिक ताले हमें कौन देखुछंदी ल्यूकोक्रेटिक सरफेस मींस डार्क और लाइट कलर डार्क कलर और लाइट कलर we are looking at light color. So this is a first of all it's a leucocratic first observation. For everybody it is leucocratic, or somebody for it is mesocratic, mostly it is leucocratic. Then minerals present की minerals सब अछि भल से देखो आखि बंद करके क्वार्ज कहले हबनी व्हाई क्वार्ज मु कहबे एटी अछि डायमंड भी अछि फॉर्म इने नेकेड आई क्वार्ज as well as डायमंड तांकर प्रॉपर्टी ऑलमोस्ट समान. I cannot distinguish quartz from diamond if it is properly polished. यदि हेतिबा गोटे क्वार्ज then I cannot distinguish whether it is quartz or diamond in my naked eye. सीधा क्वार्ज बोली काहे कहूची बुझियो जी कथा ताले कौन अच्छा के भल से देखो क्वार्ज मते कम देखा जाउची समथिंग एल्स इज मोर नॉट क्वार्ज. गायत्री आसी के को कना तो को ये टेंशन है जीवा सीधा असली को मोस्टली ए एरिया रे देखि नेक्स्ट जबे केतले पढेबी पुनी जिबा त करबा सेति पुनी हमें कोन सब करबा अलग अलग प्रकार रा इंटरप्रिटेशन सब करबा. तो फर्स्ट एडी देखिबा माने सब कोन अछि ए जो बड़ एबे टेक्सचर को जदी जिबा वन इज ल्यूकोक्रेटिक एबे जो इंडिविजुअल ग्रेन रो साइज माइक्रोस्कोपिक ना मेसोस्कोपिक स्केल अछि कि मेगास्कोपिक मेसोस्कोपिक एंड स्पेसिमेन स्केल, राइट? देन हमें जानि जंदी डिपेंडिंग ऑन साइज ऑफ ए ग्रेन कोन जानि जंदी अफेनेटिक और फेनेरिक, राइट? फेनेरिक अफेनेटिक Phaneric means
seen hobo.
we can in naked eye we can look, we can distinguish, we can observe in naked eye. This is your phaneric. But if we cannot distinguish in naked eye, that is your aphanetic, right? So if we look or if we carefully observe, we can distinguish. It has a particular shape, particular size. So these are phaneric or aphanetic? Phaneric. Then coming to the color index, it is leucocratic. Dita bord genes identify hela. Then is jodi dekhibi kono ko dekhibi rock type ko dekhibi. Bord grain, there is coarse grain achi. So what does it tell about your cooling condition?
Slow cooling.
It indicates slow cooling. Then if we looking at this particular location, we can say these are plutonic rocks. Plutonic rocks means while they have formed at a deeper depth, right? Not at shallow depth. Rather they have formed at deeper depth. So looking at this particular location or looking at this particular exposure, we can tell many things. Mechanism of formation, where it has been formed, how it has been formed, right? So we can tell different things looking at simple this particular location. So we have to build our geological life. We have to develop it. In one day it will be difficult. So now coming to the rock type. So texture, it is clear. One is your phaneric texture. We are looking at coarse grains. Then size is around 1 centimeter, right? So coarse grains. Then these are your leucocratic. Then now coming to this particular grain, this is a plagioclase. So now we must have to distinguish at least 3 to 4 things or 4 minerals, right? We must have to distinguish your plagioclase, we must have to distinguish orthoclase, we must have to distinguish your quartz. Then only we can name this rock type. Then we can name this rock type. Or else if we cannot identify what is quartz, what is plagioclase, what is orthoclase, then it will be difficult to name this particular rock. Then coming to this particular location, if we observe carefully, you will find plagioclase. You will also find certain mafic minerals, those which are looking your dark. These are your mafic minerals, right? These are your mafic minerals. But more or less, or your maximum percentage of this rock type is your plagioclase. It is associated small grains of quartz. Associated with
Small grain.
A particular is associated with quartz, then plagioclase. Plagioclase kahinki kohuchi? Then certain orthoclases, right? Coarse grains, orthoclase. How do I distinguish? Pani achi? How to distinguish plagioclase from orthoclase? I just wait this particular location or this particular your rock type. Now you can observe there are 3 things. One looking greasy, right? Looking greasy. Then the whitish part, one will reflect, other one dull. The dull part, this is your plagioclase or orthoclase? White. But if I wet this one or if I pour water to it, those which are dull, these are normally plagioclase. These are plagioclase. Then the part which are greasy, these are your quartz. Greasy. Or the luster is which luster? Quartz shows adamant luster or which luster? Vitreous luster. So luster is just like your glass. Glassy like luster, looking like glass. So these are your quartz. Then the part which is not reflecting much or which are dull, even though it is white, this is small grains. These are your plagioclase. Then the coarse grains, purely these coarse grains, these are your orthoclase. These are your orthoclase. So from this, now we are getting your main phases, or we are getting essential phases. Essentially your quartz, we are getting orthoclase, as well as we are getting plagioclase. If we plot this in your QAP diagram, depending on its percentage, we can simply name this rock type. But this is we must have to done in lab. But in field, association of quartz, orthoclase, then plagioclase with subordinate amounts of your mafic indicates, and coarse grain indicates more or less it is a granite. It's a granite. Straight away we should not go for granite. Straight away we should not conclude. Rather we must observe its features. Then we are in a which terrain? We are in a granitic terrain. We are in a
Granitic terrain.
because it contains your orthoclase, plagioclase, then all things. Then these are coarse grains, granite. Then if I carefully observe, then I will find. There is a white band. Again there is a dark band. White dark. Observe not closely, rather observe white from a distance. 9. सेपटे छाड़ दे समझ देखा दे followed by white band again mafic felsic. So these kind of a mafic in a felsic domain is known as clarence. Clarence, yes. These are your clarence. And if observe it very carefully, then you will find these are penetrative fabric. Penetrative in nature. These are not superficial features. These are penetrative, right? So they also define a cystosity or foliation. We will not go into that details. In after structural geology, so firstly we will observe this is a rock type identification, then identification of different minerals, then identification of textures. Right? Got my point? ठीक अछि? So this is we are looking at a granitic rock type, right? Okay.